I love it when teams make moves that make sense for them. The Indiana Pacers have been one of those teams that I've been talking about, or am going to talk about in upcoming videos, that have not been the best, but have also not been the worst, putting them in the spot in the NBA that you definitely do not want to be at. This Pacers team is honestly so confusing in its current state, because if you look at the roster, you'll see a good bit of talent. You'll also see that they have guys that can go out and get it on any given night. If you ask me, the major mistake that the Pacers made this season was having the wrong coach their basketball team. Also, not really being able to stay healthy plays a part in all of that, but more importantly, I do think coaching matters. Now, I understand that the Pacers situation can be somewhat tough, but you cannot tell me that this team does not have a ton of individual talent. And I guess you could argue the fit of some of the talent, but at the end of the day, I do believe the right coach would make it work. It is ironic to me that when Nate McMillan was fired, he brought the Atlanta Hawks to the Eastern Conference Finals. He turned around a season that was absolutely headed nowhere in Atlanta. And while the Atlanta Hawks haven't looked like their usual selves this year, who's to say that they don't turn it around and go on a run? When the Pacers fired Nate McMillan, I didn't agree with the move, but I definitely understood, and I can't be mad at the team for firing him, simply because the Pelicans made a similar move when they fired Monty Williams. While I definitely agree that firing Monty Williams was the wrong move, I understand the logic behind firing him. In this social media era, we live in the now. Fans want instant results. They want every season to be better than the last, and if it's not, then you're gone for somebody that brings a breath of fresh air. Like I said, I don't necessarily agree with the logic, but I do understand it. The Pacers felt like they had met their ceiling with Nate McMillan. Sometimes trying to find that coaching upgrade goes wrong, but every now and then you have a situation like the Golden State Warriors. Hey, major shout out to Mark Jackson for laying the groundwork to what would go on to become one of the best teams in NBA history. Pacers fans, would it be foul if I brought up the Roy Hibbert and Paul George days? Because those days feel like they happened so long ago. And I guess in reality, they kind of did. You know what? Cue the clip of Paul George going toe-to-toe with LeBron James and dunking on Birdman.
Here comes George, got the step and scuffs one move and counts on the foul.
Man, who said that I don't have love for Indiana? According to Shams, the Indiana Pacers are headed towards a full rebuild. They are receptive to trade talks centered around Caris LeVert and either Domantas Sabonis or Myles Turner. We'll talk about some possible trades and teams interested in these players in just a second, but you guys may have noticed that they left one very talented player off of this list. This player goes by the name of Malcolm Brogdon. Brogdon is one of my favorite two-way players in the NBA. Last season, in the play-in tourney, it felt like Brogdon was one of the few players that showed fight for the Indiana Pacers. Brogdon is one of those guys that just knows how to win. It's ironic because his team is losing, but trust me when I say Brogdon is somebody that you definitely want on your team. He's going to give you maximum effort every single night. And on top of that, he knows how to put the ball in the basket. He's not just one of those effort guys that's an effort guy. He's an effort guy that is a bucket. Last season, Brogdon shot 45% from the field and 39% from the three-point line. He did this while averaging 21.2 points per game. The problem with Malcolm Brogdon right now is that he's not actually eligible to be traded. Brogdon is ineligible to be traded before the trade deadline. This is due to the extension he signed this offseason. As a New Orleans Pelicans fan, Brogdon is the #1 guy that I would want off of the Indiana Pacers roster, and I hope that when he does become available, the Pelicans go out and try to get him. That being said, I would honestly settle with Caris LeVert right now. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I got mad love for LeVert. While LeVert does struggle with consistency at times, he's one of those guys that just needs to stay healthy to get into his groove and to stay in it. It really does interest me to see what teams will be interested in Caris LeVert. The funny thing about this whole rebuilding thing for the Indiana Pacers is that if they want to keep Chris Duarte, he's only 1 year younger than Myles Turner and Domantas Sabonis. I think Duarte is good, and I think he has the talent to be great. But his age just makes this whole thing funny to me. But you know what? I also get it. Duarte is on a rookie contract. Sabonis, Turner, and LeVert are not. Guys, if Duarte is available in your fantasy basketball leagues, go pick this guy up right now. This is not a fantasy basketball channel, but I can tell you right now that he's going to go off, and he's been looking really good. Guys, never say that Coop does not look out for you. Now, reportedly, there have already been some teams interested in who the Indiana Pacers have made available. Lamb has drawn interest from the Los Angeles Lakers, and to be honest with you guys, the Lakers are a team that I would have imagined would be interested in Myles Turner. Though they may not have the assets to necessarily go out and get Turner right now, if they never traded for Russell Westbrook, I think that a trade for Turner would be much more likely. Getting the talent and the contracts to match in this situation for the Los Angeles Lakers could get very tricky if they actually were interested in Myles Turner. Public knowledge now that AD is not necessarily obsessed with playing the 5, and that Myles Turner is one of the best rim protectors in the NBA. But unlike most rim protectors, Myles Turner can shoot the lights out of the basketball. Myles Turner is currently taking 5 threes per game and knocking these threes down at 40%. Did I mention that Myles Turner is blocking 2.8 shots per game? I can't imagine what Myles Turner would look like in the hands of the right coach or the right system. Speaking of systems, could you imagine Myles Turner going to one of the best systems in the NBA in the Golden State Warriors? Reportedly, Golden State and Indiana spoke on a possible Turner trade ahead of the 2021 draft, before the Pacers kept their center and the Warriors went on to select Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody. The Warriors are one of those interesting teams that actually are a good team right now, but also has the assets to make a major move if they want to go out and get a win now piece. Now, with how good that Jonathan Kuminga has been looking, I would be at least somewhat reluctant to make a trade that involved Kuminga if I was the Golden State Warriors. And let's also take into account that we necessarily haven't really gotten a full look at how good Wiseman can be in this league. Maybe I get hate for this, but I definitely think Wiseman is a big that has star potential. And guys, I like Moses Moody too, so Warriors fans, don't get mad at me. The point that I'm trying to make is the Warriors are in a really interesting place. I've been talking a lot about Turner, but Warriors fans, how would you feel about the possibility of adding Sabonis? Sabonis has become underrated. I'm not sure or when it happened, but it's like people stopped talking about him completely, or maybe they just were never talking about him. Last season, Sabonis was putting together stat lines like he was playing 2K and nobody cared. He averaged 20 points, 12 boards, and 7 assists. This season, while his numbers have been down a bit, it's been more of the same. Sabonis is a phenomenal talent. I'm not sure if he would be the perfect fit for the Golden State Warriors, and you could even say that maybe he would be a questionable fit. But if you were to trade for a guy like Sabonis, I would trust my coach to put him in the right situation to be successful. It's so crazy to me that the Warriors are so well set up for the future, and then they got this whole now thing going on like they aren't one of the best teams in the NBA. Man, have you guys seen some of these Kuminga blocks and dunks? Another team that I would love to be interested in Myles Turner is the Charlotte Hornets. LaMelo Ball is currently one of the most exciting shows in the game of basketball, in my opinion. And I would love nothing more than to see LaMelo with a center like Myles Turner that could space it and that has the athleticism to be a lob target. Man, Kai Jones, can you hurry up and develop? Yo, I'm joking. I think Kai Jones is going to be pretty solid. If you guys were the Golden State Warriors, would you look into trading Wiseman for Turner straight up? Maybe this could be one of those situations where both teams end up winning. It's crazy that the Warriors can make that trade and still be nowhere near short on young talent. In the comments below, let me know where you guys would most like to see Myles Turner go. Also, let me know where you would most like to see Sabonis go, and also my guy, Caris LeVert. You guys know what they say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's also worth noting that the Pacers do not want to commit to a long-term tank. Maybe that factors into some of their decisions. And it's also possible that Myles Turner officially demanding a trade will also factor into some of their decisions. To quote Myles Turner, "It's clear that I'm not valued as anything more than a glorified role player here, and I want something more opportunity. I'm not valued as more than a rotational role player, and I hold myself in a higher regard than that." Big words from a big-time player, especially considering Rick Carlisle said this the other day. "We met with them and made it clear that we want to win with this team. This team was put together with the idea that this could work." I was a little hard on Rick at the start of this video, but I really do like Rick as a coach. Maybe he just wasn't the coach for this team. Or hey, maybe they do really end up turning it around. Who knows? Guys, let me know what you think about this whole situation down in the comments below. I'm GetLikeCoop bringing you guys the scoop. Until our next upload.